What is going on, and welcome back into Byerly Studios. Who is ready for a new project series? Yes, we're going to be starting a new painting, not just one painting, but a few to go together in the same frame. So as you can see here, I already have some watercolor paper. Is a large sheet here, well, medium to large, and I also have some acid-free bags just sitting at the top, just kind of seeing how I want those to be laid out in the picture frame. Now, I'm not going to go with that size, I don't believe, and I think I want to cut this down here to about 3 inches below its original height. And I want to create more of a landscape view there. So as you can see here, I do have some different watercolor papers here, and these are kind of like little palette books. This is a 4 by 6 inch watercolor booklet, and you can just tear those out and use them as you need to. So because I am going to cut this down to say about right here, maybe up here, I want to make sure that I can kind of get them to look the way that I want. I'm going to put like a divider or a bevel kind of paper over top of these in the picture frame, so there will be some separation between the images above as well as the actual larger landscape view below. So as you can see, that's kind of how they may be laid out potentially. Just kind of get an idea. There'll be like a space between them, of course, but I just kind of get an idea how I want these to be sized. I don't want them to be too obviously huge, but at the same time, I do want them to be kind of visible in my studio, or whether I paint it and hang it on a wall or something like that. I do not believe that I will make copies of these. I'm not going to say never. I'm going to use a lot of this and make my own interpretation of the original reference that we're going to be using. And at this point, you may think to yourself, well, what are you going to be making? I guess I can go ahead and tell you as I get this stuff out of my way here. I'm going to be making the three brothers from the Deathly Hallows, the Tales of Beetle and the Bard. So if you have not been able to read that, then maybe we'll do a reading of that on here during one of the creation videos or something. That'd be kind of fun to do in the series, just more like an audiobook, me reading it out loud from the pages there. We'll see how that goes. So we'll go ahead and lower the actual desktop here. This is my drafting table, which I haven't really used since I moved into this room that I call my studio or storage room. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get kind of a measurement of how we want to measure and cut this main piece down, so I can really get an idea of how it's going to look in the picture frame. This is more so a prep video if you haven't got that already. And if you need to speed this up by using the YouTube time-lapse version where you can speed up the video or slow it down, you can do so. You will just be distorting my voice over as I run through this. But I'm trying to kind of gauge how I want that to be done. I was thinking that I could use the 6x4 watercolor paper to kind of gauge that. I decided, to kind of keep it the same length or width overall. So the width is 18 inches. And here is what the actual panel is. It's an 18 by 12 inch 15 sheet paper. It is acid free and it's 140 pound. It is really durable and it's really great quality, and you can get these on sale all the time at Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby has become my go-to place to get any kind of materials for any of my arts and crafts. I'm not saying I don't order off of YouTube, and I do sometimes, but Hobby Lobby's my happy place. I'm going to use just a standard 2H Castell pencil here, just a drawing pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this off here. I decided to go with a 9-inch gap here. So we're going to go 9 inches in height, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark this off here. Apply gentle pressure there. And then just go ahead and make your mark very lightly, not too much to apply too much pressure where it creates a bevel indentation. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut this with just some scissors out of my craft station here. I don't have a nice trimmer or trim blade, so we're going to go ahead and cut this by hand. And I can always turn this into other little itty bitty micro travel size little palettes there. Or canvases. I could also make some bookmarks if I wanted to. Go ahead and cut this to size. And just like that, there it is cut to size there. So it's a total of 18 inches in width, and it is a total of 9 inches in height. We will lose probably at least maybe a millimeter to a centimeter on both sides when we do put the beveled kind of framing paper on top of that. Making sure there's no burrs on the outside edges does sometimes bugs me, even if it's going to be hidden away. I kind of want it to be as archival as possible when I do create something, and I don't want those nasty glue edges or burrs from either cut marks or from the panel that we pulled this off of to be visible there. So we're going to go ahead and frame that up with the bottom of my drafting table there. I'm going to kind of sit the watercolor booklet off to the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and kind of measure and line these up one more time just to make sure we get kind of like how they're going to look in total. Again, we're going to be making the 3 brothers from the Deathly Hallows from the Harry Potter series. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the main scene of them creating the bridge on the bottom. And then each of the upper portions will be the brothers receiving their Deathly Hallows from death. I do not believe that I'm going to do actual death itself. I may do like a little snippet of death in each individual brother's picture. Even if it's just like a hand or just like the outside of his cloak or something like that, I just want it to be very simple, simplistic, so that it doesn't pull the eye too much to the brothers above. The main centerpiece is going to be the canvas below, which is going to be the overall bridge. Now, jumping conversation here, you can kind of see that I have my measuring tape laid out here, and you can kind of see that I have it centered. It says 1, 2, 3, half, 1, 2, 3, half. And then the centerpiece is 9 inches because the overall length is 18 inches. Cool? So we'll kind of change that a little bit, maybe depending on how the overall frame kind of lays out. But you kind of see how it may look when it's actually in the picture frame itself. So it more so is just a square picture frame in a way. So it's going to look really cool, I think. I think that they're going to blend very well. And I may do something very intrinsic with the actual frame itself, whether I do some clay work, sculpting like bones or something like that to go around the outside and make it look like Death's arms or hands, or maybe he could be holding the stone as well as the other, maybe, because I don't know how I'll do the cloak. We'll see how that turns out. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the actual backboard that I have. I did actually just purchase this not too long ago. I think I'm going to clear coat this with like a clear protective adhesive so that it can kind of last longer. We'll see about that later. And then here they are laid out in total. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to roll into some bonus footage now here in a second. And in doing so, I'm just going to kind of lightly introduce my overall watercolor set up that I have right now and kind of the tools that I like to use when I do watercolors. I'm very simple, guys. I haven't really been doing watercolors very long, but I really do enjoy the process overall. Do you think it looks good?
Yes.
So we're going to have the bridge and death, 3 brothers, and then we're going to have 1, 2, 3 brothers.
You're going to have the 1, 2, 3. You're going to have the bridge and the 3 brothers and 1, 2, 3.
You got it. That's right. Cool.
I don't know what the brothers look like.
Okay. Oh, no, they're just kind of interpretive. They're not really strongly depicted in the movies. Fist bump.
You can make whatever face you want.
Anytime that I can get my daughter into the studio is an absolute blast. And I like her little commentary like, okay, get it done, Dad. So here's my travel pack that I have for when I do watercolors out and about. I have a series that I want to start with the zoo. I haven't got around to that, maybe eventually, but it's just like a little watercolor palette here that I have. And it has the original watercolor paint set that I had used. I made like a little TikTok and YouTube video short of me putting the paper in there. It was pretty cool. Now this is going to be a new palette that I'm going to keep in the studio here, and it's only going to be my earth colors. Because I want to do a lot of earth color painting, it's going to be very basic, limited, and I'll probably get another one of these later on down the road, and I'll make it a more of a bright color palette. And maybe I'll do the same thing for blues and reds, and then eventually maybe I'll get like a really larger scale one once I really get used to how I want my colors and stuff to be laid out. I like to have a chip brush to kind of paint in a background very quickly. And then I also have a lot of these little watercolor brushes here. You can get these on Amazon for little packets and things. I got some from Amazon, as well as I got some from Hobby Lobby. I keep extra water on hand just to fill those up if I'm not near a water bottle out in the field. And then a few other things. I have, as you saw earlier, an eraser stick. I also have a mechanical pencil and things like that in there, so I can go ahead and draw out my sketches really quickly. I also have a sepia marker. Now these are the most important thing that I have right here, these little clipboards here. Now I don't actually use the clipboard because I don't want to indent the actual paper that I'm using. However, I do use tape to put that backing onto the actual clipboard. I like this because I can prep a lot of these canvases at one time. I would say that if you do this, just don't leave the paper on the clipboards with the tape for an excessive amount of time, because it will cause it to stick or tear even more. So the quicker you can get your paintings done after applying them to the board, the bigger and better. Now if you're going to trim the actual edges of the paper off, which I may do this time so I don't want to get any ripping, then because I'm kind of trying to create like a more archival look instead of just having fun, then you may want to trim those excesses in total away, which means that it wouldn't be 9x6 anymore. It'd be actually slightly smaller. Now here we are. I'm going to go ahead and apply the paper here. I'll do this 2 times, so you'll see this process 2 times. We'll do one zoomed all the way out so you can kind of see my movements and how I'm doing it. You just tear it off. Make sure you kind of stretch it a little bit down. Make sure there's no ripples. Make sure it's applied firmly. That's a good thing about using, like 140-pound paper, or even like if you use something different, like 300-pound. Just make sure it's kind of rough, flat, so it doesn't have any ripples in it, dry as it is. All right, so as you can see there, it just barely has a little hold there. That tape is doing its job. Now we're going to do this one more time, just more of a closer manner here. So you're going to kind of see me apply the tape one more time here. All this right here is in real time, and as you can see, I'm just making sure there's no burrs on the outside edges. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and apply the tape to the exterior of the actual paper. I will go whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, just around the painting there, and I'm just going to try to make sure that it's laying completely flat as I do this. A lot of people use like gum paper and they'll water saturate the paper for like 5 to 10 minutes and then apply it, and then as that paper shrinks it won't buckle when you apply the watercolors to it. I really just haven't reached a stage in my art career where I feel like that's needed right now. I'm not saying that I won't ever experiment with gum paper, I just don't really want to do that right now. So those out there who use it, I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying I don't do that right now. Maybe for the larger size canvases, I'll find that I really need to do that to really achieve the look that I want without getting pooling in some of those rippled edges and interior pieces of that larger format paper. So as you can see there, I'm barely just applying it to there. It can get a little bit of separation when that gets water saturated with the water. But other than that, it will hold and do the job for this size canvas that we have here. Sometimes I'll number the edges so I know which ones to pull up as I pull those up off the paper there, or I'll just completely trim them in. Now this is the first video that I've done in the tips and tricks video playlist where I'm prepping for watercolor painting. This is also the very first video in the playlist that I'm making for the 3 brothers in the Deathly Hallows. Now that is from the Tales of Beetle and the Bard and Harry Potter land. So I hope you enjoyed this overall video, and I'll see you in the next one where we're starting with the brothers paintings. Later guys.